So the studio horns, I haven't done a video about this yet, and it's very similar to what we have with the strings. The same type of interface, most of the same features, a few little things that are brass and horn specific, but super awesome. And I'm actually using this today with the Hornberg breath controller, which I've shown previously. I think if you're going to do any kind of sequencing with sax or trumpet or trombone, then a breath controller is going to be so useful. And I'm not really going to go into the actual breath controller itself, just to talk about the features here that we have with the Studio Horns plugin, where I have the dynamics turned on via CC. I have my breath controller set to the exact same CC plus the vibrato controller. And then when I just breathe into this and push a note, it does it. So useful to have a breath controller when working with brass instruments. Not only to have all these individual instruments, we have alto sax, 2 of them, 2 tenors, 1 bari, 4 different trumpets, 4 trombones, well 3 trombones and a bass trombone. But then we also have these different sections. And this allows us to do different voicings. Let's turn off dynamics for a moment. Some of the notes are still loading, it sounds like. Such a great instrument. Now I'm still digging into the auto voice split. I found that sometimes it's working well, and sometimes when I'm sequencing something, I have to change the actual voice leading that I'm working with to make it make sense to the actual instrument here. But it's still really awesome how we can do that. And so that's going to take some time for me, for the most part, to really master some of the voice splitting. But it's pretty cool, and we have these other options here for changing the voicings that we're doing. You can see the split mode, start with the lead voice, start with the bass voice, start by key split. And then if we are setting up a key split, we'd have to choose which key that is. But some of this stuff, so drop 2 and 4. It's not playing exactly what I'm playing on the keyboard. It's actually changing some of the voicings here to match what it's being told to do. I'm not playing up the high note with the trumpet there. It's automatically putting up one of them an octave above. But you're getting a whole brass section with a piano keyboard that doesn't actually sound as much like a piano keyboard. It still does to the trained ear, but you can actually program it so it doesn't as much. In addition to that, what I also like is that we have this humanize function, a key click function, so we can actually add some of those other sounds in there which we might expect when we're doing some brass instruments. We have all of our articulations just like we have with our strings. So you can program these in pretty easily. Staccato playing. And then on down, we don't go any more down. It's split by range of the actual physical instruments. Which, of course, if you want to extend, we can. Like having a tuba now. Okay, so we're not really going into everything here super deep, just hitting some of the kind of the cool things about these instruments. Keep in mind that you have the 3 sections, all of these instruments, and you're going to be limited by what you can do on a single one, but you can throw as many of these on different tracks as you want. And that's pretty cool as well. So there'll be a little bit of different things with some of these. Not too much. You'll see we don't have the key click for the trumpet like we did with the saxophone. And obviously we don't have key click with the trombone. It has a slide. But we're going to have essentially the same, let's look at these, essentially the same articulations throughout all of them. And keep in mind as well that if you want to be using the articulations as key switches, then what you really want to do is make sure you have this track selected and come out here to your library, and then you can choose among these, and a lot more is actually programmed into Logic by using the presets. So single instruments, we have the tenor sax, and now we can actually use some more of the features on our tracks because we're using these presets. So for instance, here's our articulation set. They're down here inside of our properties area. So that's kind of cool that we have access to that here. But let's close that for 1 second. I'm going to reset the channel strip. We add this plugin back on, Studio Horns. You're going to see I choose tenor sax, whatever. It doesn't change anything. But if I come out to our library and we do horns and we pick, say, the exact same instrument, then the articulation set will be there. So just keep in mind that it's better with these instruments in the long run to choose these from our library because it's going to add that additional features in. Whereas if you just load the instrument itself, then you're not going to have that. We also, of course, have additional effects and sends. So if you don't want those, the last thing to keep in mind is that you can do the patch merging and turn off audio effects and sends if you want to before choosing alto sax. And then it will just load the instrument, and it will just load the articulation set, but it won't load the audio effects or the sends. So select whatever you want in that configuration before loading the instrument, and I think that you're going to probably be a little bit happier with how that works and sounds. Okay, just kind of an introduction to this. We're going to be doing more with some of these instruments over the next couple of weeks. Let me know if you're interested in that, but definitely some great stuff happening here with Studio Horns. I'm a little bit late covering this, but I think it's still something that's so valuable and worth your time figuring out.